Hey y'all, this is Coach Max. I'm sure you're more than a little confused right now. Yes, we are indeed going to see how well Lugia does in Gen 1. We're going to start out a little different. We're going to go straight to gameplay footage for a second. If you've never seen one of my videos, first off, hit the subscribe button, grab a snack. Second, I normally talk about the Pokemon in question, give my opinion on it, we talk about the stats, moveset, and other general things about it. But today, we're booting up the footage and I'm just going to explain things as we go. The way I was even able to do this run is by using the Sanqui online randomizer. I've got the link in the description below. Definitely check this out when you get the chance. It randomizes a ROM of Pokemon Red far beyond what the Universal Pokemon Randomizer can do. This one can generate any Pokemon from Gen 1 through 6, complete with Gen 1 era sprites. It's pretty awesome. I wanted to do this run after doing my 3-part series on the Kanto birds. A good little trilogy for you to see how each of them stack up against the other trainers in Kanto. I knew there were ROM hacks out there that had Pokemon released after Kanto in them, but I wasn't sure how to go about getting one of those ROMs. It's because of Gym Leader Matt and D1D016 that I heard about this randomizer. Check their videos out when you get a chance. Lugia is the trio master of the legendary birds, so it naturally makes sense to do a video with it. In this particular randomizer, it replaced Squirtle with Lugia, so let's start up our run and see what Lugia is working with. Whirlwind. Just Whirlwind. That is not good. Yeah, Lugia's moveset, it's different. On the randomizer, they have a lot of different options, like updating move rosters, updating types, including Fairy Dark and Steel, things like that. Well, I clicked the update move roster apparently, but that doesn't include any moves that didn't exist in Gen 1. Normally a level 1 Lugia would have Whirlwind and Weather Ball, but since Weather Ball didn't exist, I just have Whirlwind, and I just used it over and over here because I had no other choice. The crazy thing is, my rival's Bulbasaur used Growl way too many times in his first rival battle, so I was able to use all of my Whirlwinds and get to where I could use Struggle. But I didn't have enough health left over, so a reset in the first battle. Good start. Also, I didn't hit the reset counter for some reason, I guess because the story proceeds whether you win or lose, and I didn't feel like trying this over and over until I got a lucky win. So as you might have guessed, here's the reason we're going to let the gameplay go in the background and now talk about things. Because I had to burn through all these Whirlwinds and use Struggle to level up. The good thing about Whirlwind is that it actually ends a wild battle, so I didn't have to manage using a move that doesn't do anything and my health at the same time. It actually ends battles and counts as using the move. Let's start with the moveset. Here's what Lugia's moveset would normally be in Gen 6. Not a bad moveset. But do you see what I see? Of the 16 moves that Lugia can learn naturally, only 5 of those exist in this game. And 2 of them, Recover and Sky Attack, come at level 71 and 99. If Moltres could beat the Elite Four and champion before those levels, I really hope Lugia is capable of it. And Gust coming at level 9 really isn't bad. Stab Flying is pretty nice. But this is Gen 1, so it's a normal type move. I didn't have to just use Struggle at least when I got this move. The TMs are kind of hard to figure out which ones Lugia can learn. Without jumping too far ahead, I think I've realized that any moves in the game that are TMs that Lugia can learn either by TM, Move Tutor, or know from importing from a previous generation, it's fair game for Lugia to learn. For example, in Gen 6, Body Slam is not a TM, but it is in Gen 1, so Lugia could learn it here. And the only way to get a Lugia with Body Slam in Gen 6 is to have sent one that knew it all the way from Gen 3. Got all that? Probably not. It's alright. I could be completely wrong. Let's look at Lugia's stats next, because I know for sure, like 98%, where those came from. It has the exact same HP, attack, defense, and speed stats as it would in any generation. The special stat is all that's different, because in Gen 2 they split special into special attack and special defense. So how did I get its special stat? Well, the special stat in Gen 1 became its stat for either special attack or defense, and then the other value was created for the other. I was given the option of combining both special attack and defense values or just choosing one. I went with just one, that being the higher of the two stats. So maybe it's a little unfair. The special stat would either be 154 or 90, and a legendary in Gen 1 with a straight-up special stat of 90 seems a little too fragile. But combining them together to be a special of 244 would have 100% been unfair. So, compared to the other birds, it's got the same stats or better in every category, with about an average of 100 points higher than the three birds. So this run should be a cakewalk going just off of stats. Well, it should be anyways. There's just a few more loose ends we need to tie up. Because of the updated moves, all the other Pokemon in the game have their updated Gen 6 movesets. So we're not dealing with Gen 1 AI with terrible movesets, we're dealing with Gen 1 AI with good movesets. If you're used to my videos, I've pretty much exclusively done Pokemon Yellow videos for about a year and a half now. This randomizer doesn't work for Yellow. It's only a ROM of Red version. Because this isn't Yellow, my rival isn't going to have Eevee. He's going to have a type advantage of what's better than my starter. And here's where it gets complicated again. Unlike the universal randomizer, you can't choose what to replace the starter with. I had to randomize about 20 different ROMs until I got one where one of the starters was Lugia. In this particular one, it replaced Squirtle, so the rival picked up Bulbasaur. It's just how it is, sorry. And before we really dig into the actual run, here's just some stuff about Lugia. I like it. I remember seeing Pokemon 2000 in theaters with my dad when I was 6. It's the main Pokemon of that movie, good stuff all around. Here, I named it Luigi. I always knew it was pronounced Lugia, but the words are so similar that I almost always have to double check just to make sure I've read it correctly. And I got Pokemon Silver and Gold at the same time when they came out. Got them at Kmart in Crossville, Tennessee. It's now a farm store. I named my rival Laurent. It was supposed to be Lawrence III, but there wasn't enough character space. Lawrence III is the guy from Pokemon 2000 trying to capture Lugia, so it made sense to be the rival's name. But we're gonna just call him Laurent. Okay, I think I can actually talk about the run now. That took 2 whole pages out of my script. Normally it just takes 1 or even less than a whole page. This is gonna be some good stuff. As mentioned before, Whirlwind was the only move that Lugia had. I had to burn through it to get to Struggle, and then manage my potions to save on time. I was able to take out about 2 Pokemon before needing to heal up with a potion. And you can only get 5 potions before reaching Pewter City. The Viridian City Mart won't sell them to you at the beginning of the game. You can see here that I had to run away from a Weedle because it knocked me down to 1 HP and it poisoned me. So I had to run away from it, or else we would have had a reset from a wild Pokemon. I genuinely might have just given up on the run if that happened. After taking out enough Weedles and Pikachu to reach level 6, I tackled the mandatory bug trainer. I didn't literally tackle him though, obviously I just had to use Struggle. And this took up about 3 of my potions, just to reach level 6. Luckily the bug catcher wasn't an issue, and I can make it to Pewter City to buy potions. And this was before I knew we were going to get Gust at level 9. I had no clue how long this was going to take. I went to this specific patch of grass in Viridian Forest and just started grinding. I chose this patch for 2 reasons. 1, it's closest to the other trainers in the forest. If all we're going to have is Gust, we're going to need to take advantage of all the trainer XP that we can get, and this will put us closer. 2, when I was younger and had just gotten Pokemon Red, this is the patch of grass that my cousins told me Pikachu could be found in. And they are correct. Pikachu can be encountered here. But it can also be encountered everywhere in the forest. Little 5-year-old me never encountered Pikachu anywhere but this patch. It probably wasn't until I was in my teens playing the games again that I found a Pikachu anywhere other than this patch. So, this specific piece of grass has always been special to me. After almost 30 minutes of just walking back and forth in the grass, Lugia finally learned Gust. Normal typed, Gen 1 Gust. Hey, at least it's better than Struggle. I started my onslaught of the bug trainers, and despite being a legendary, it felt like these battles took way longer than they should have. Gust ain't great, but I felt like I wasn't doing anything. And to take advantage of as many trainers as possible, I took on the optional rival battle, and I should have won first try. I was level 10. But, and we haven't seen this one in one of my runs in a while honestly, Sand Attack. His Pidgey used it 3 times on me. Lugia was just spamming away with Gust. I did finally take it down, and I had almost all of my health. So I beat Bulbasaur, right? Well, it used Leech Seed on me. And then, it wouldn't tackle, it would use Growl, lowering my attack. So only hitting every other third turn, and barely doing any damage. Unfortunately, just couldn't cut it in this one. But let's be real, if I hadn't been hit by Sand Attack, nothing would have happened of note in this battle, and that's exactly what happened in the rematch. His Pidgey didn't even use Sand Attack once. And Bulbasaur did use Growl, but I had a crit that bypassed the attack drop. Easy win this time. And the junior trainer in Brock's gym was an easy win. Diglett and Sandshrew weren't going to hit me incredibly hard, I just wasn't sure how hard Gust would hit. And it didn't do a ton of damage, but it got the job done. I sure wasn't ready for Brock though. So back to the forest to battle worms, cocoons, and mice. And wouldn't you know it, while we're grinding in the forest, Lugia has a question for y'all. It wants to know what other Pokemon you'd like to see in Gen 1 that aren't native to this game. Obviously Ho-Oh comes to mind, but I'm just going to tell you right now, that's not going to be the next video. It starts with Whirlwind just like Lugia, and it's just going to be better Moltres. We're not doing that one. Pretty much any other legendary would be fun though. Drop some suggestions in the comments below. Now you need to realize this was before I learned we weren't going to get any more level up moves until much later in the game. With each level gained, I hoped for a new attack. But nothing. Level 13, nothing. Level 14, nothing. Level 15 and 16, nothing. At level 16, I decided to take my first crack at Brock. If I was overleveled and whooped him, oh well. If this battle didn't go well, it means my grinding wasn't done in vain. We're over an hour into the run, by the way, and we haven't even attempted Brock. With a legendary. Geodude took the Gusts about as well as I expected it to, and when it wouldn't use Tackle on Lugia, it would use Defense Curl, making these Gusts do even less and less damage each turn. But, after Lugia only losing about 23 HP, Geodude went down. Let's be real, we know this isn't the main concern in this battle. Onix has much higher defense than Geodude. This one was going to take a minute. I was hoping it would mainly use Bide and then allow me to Whirlwind to avoid damage, but it didn't. It used Rage, and I thought this might work out to my advantage. Rage locked it into using just Rage. But the downside of that is that it was using a damaging move every time, and Gust just wasn't doing enough. Rage eventually built up enough damage to just take me down. I knew this wasn't going to work out at this level, and honestly, I wasn't going to have any fun just banging my head against the rocks, so back to the forest and up to level 18 before I tried this battle again. This time, even after gaining just 2 levels, I was hitting so much harder, and I had more HP to take more hits. Geodude only took about 7 or so hits before going down, and Onix didn't lock itself into Rage early, which worked out pretty well, but it used Harden for at least 3 or 4 turns, so my hits were back to barely damaging it. But I was able to abuse Bide with Whirlwind this time, so I never had to worry about double damage coming back at me. When Onix was in very low yellow, it started using Rage, but it was low on health, and I had a good supply of health left over. An hour and almost 25 minutes in, and we have defeated Brock. Do I need to remind people that we have a legendary on our side? Because I feel like we're not focusing on that enough. But now that I was past Brock, I didn't really have many worries. If you're stuck with just normal moves, it's going to be difficult against Brock. There's no other way around it. Beating up the youngsters and bug catchers on Route 3 was a very nice change of pace. And I picked up the Water Gun TM in Mount Moon to teach Lugia. And it can't learn Water Gun. Remember, this is before I realized what moves could and couldn't be learned. I was getting a little worried at this point though that we weren't going to be able to learn anything else. And the battle with Jesse and James in Mount Moon didn't happen because this isn't Yellow version. Anyways, outside of Mount Moon, I got the TM for Whirlwind, and Lugia could learn that one. We didn't teach it, obviously. I tackled the rival on Nugget Bridge and forgot to save beforehand, so I really needed to win this or take a big time setback. Luckily, his Pidgeotto missed the first 2 sand attacks that it tried. Abra is just as weak against Gus as it is with any other move, too. And Rattata only hit me with Tail Whip. And now I can reap the benefits of the badge boost glitch, so Gust was gonna hit a little bit harder. And obviously Bulbasaur didn't beat me, but it made the battle interesting. It missed Poison Powder, but landed a Sleep Powder. I was out for 5 full turns, then the Wake Up turn, then took it down. At the top of Nugget Bridge was the TM for Thunder Wave, and Lugia could actually learn this one. This made me feel a little better about the run. Gust, Whirlwind, and Thunder Wave is not the optimal moveset for a legendary, but it's better than what we started with. The Misty battle was not a tough fight, and I messed up the windows on my computer, so there's this funny little screen. This isn't an edit, this is what Streamlabs actually recorded. I used Thunder Wave on Staryu just to get myself a little extra reinforcement, and Gust took it down. It hurt me, but it didn't do much. And I did the exact same thing to Starmie. It is basically just a bigger Staryu. It took hits better, and it hit a little bit harder. But just using Gust enough times with a crit sprinkled in, and the Cascade badge was mine. And Lugia couldn't learn Bubble Beam. Really thought this one was going to come through for me. On the SSN, I went into the room with Body Slam, just to see what would happen. I knew there was no way Lugia could learn it, but Lugia could. And oh my goodness, I was so excited to see this. It's not Stab, and Lugia doesn't have an astounding physical attack, for a legendary anyways, but Body Slam is just so good. The rival battle, now that I had Body Slam, was so easy. I had a level advantage too, but even without it, Body Slam was going to take care of me. Ivysaur was way tankier than I expected though. Honestly, kinda proud of the little frog plant monster thing. I was nervous about Surge's battle. Voltorb and Pikachu didn't scare me, and when they showed up in the battle, they died. But Raichu concerned me. It hit me with a Thunderbolt that worried me, but it only did a small chunk of damage, and one Body Slam did more than half health to it. I was just concerned the electric moves could take me out, just being cautious. I feel like I need to explain something about the exploding hiker battle. I was running low on Body Slams at this point in Rock Tunnel, so I had to use Gust on the Geodudes and use just one Body Slam on them each to try and paralyze them. I did paralyze the second Geodude luckily, but I was knocked down to 13 HP. And I'm not even gonna lie, I should have lost this battle. Graveler used Defense Curl, Tackle, and then missed a Rock Throw. Couple that with a critical hit, and boy, I got lucky and I really should have lost this battle. Now, y'all try to explain this one to me. I battled Erica without grabbing Ice Beam, which Lugia can learn, so I didn't have a Flying, Psychic, or Ice move in the Erica battle, but like, I didn't really need them. I used Thunder Wave on each of her Pokemon and just used Body Slam or Thunderbolt to take them out. I know her team resists Thunderbolt, I really don't know why I tried to use that move, but I didn't even have to try to get this win. But you better believe I went and grabbed Psychic after this battle. This was after the point where I figured out what moves Lugia could actually learn. I was still a little worried that I wouldn't even be able to learn Psychic. Lugia did learn it though. Still worried me. And to change things up, I didn't even teach Fly to Lugia, which is what I normally do. But since I had Psychic, it was going to take care of any fighting moves. And Tangela is the only non-poison grass type in the game, and I won't see any more of those after the Erica battle. Again, no Jesse and James in the game corner, so let's just get Giovanni out of the way. And I mean, I had a good level jump over him. Kangaskhan could have been a little troublesome, but 2 Psychics took it out and it missed its only attempt at damaging me. The Pokemon Tower rival was just as easily stomped too. The beginning of this run was borderline miserable with only having Struggle and Gust, but now that I have Psychic, let's just say things really pick up, as obvious as it sounds. And I needed to show this. I used the Poke Flute to get past Snorlax, and it turned into a Kadabra. So, I'm not really sure what that's all about. Just interesting. I forgot to mention this too in the recording. I'm editing right now with Marowak in the Pokemon Tower. Let's just take a look at that guy. Oh wait, it's a Zapdos. That's weird. All right. Now who's ready for some mayhem? I started the Koga fight with 39 HP and poisoned. Was I way too confident in my abilities? Absolutely. But I had Psychic. Both Coughings were knocked out in one go. Muck missed its disable and was taken out in 2 Psychics. And Wheezing was probably going to use Explosion, but 1 Psychic took it out. Not even a crit. I wasn't even over-leveled for this fight. This is the power trip you expect when you use a legendary in these games. Now before the rival battle in Silphco, I grabbed Earthquake. It's Earthquake. I don't really need to qualify this choice. I did lose Body Slam in the process, but sacrifices have to be made. I was at a level disadvantage to the rival battle, but it didn't matter. Pidgeot is the only one on his team that didn't go down in 1 hit. And it luckily only hit me with a quick attack. Also, I learned Hydro Pump after this fight, so I was just gearing up with a bunch of big, powerful moves. I'm really used to this battle being the toughest in the middle part of the game, and getting an easy win was so nice. And after the Silphco rival battle, I grabbed Lapras, like normal, except it was a Sudowoodo. I have no explanation for this one. I still named it Ananias for a biblical name, but I was just so confused. And since I had Psychic and Hydro Pump, take a guess how you think the second Giovanni battle went. Kangaskhan, again, was the only one that had any chance, and landed the move in the battle. And that was literally it. I didn't even use Hydro Pump on Rhyhorn, not really sure what I was thinking, but Psychic took it down. And Nidoqueen was obviously destroyed by Psychic. We are booking it now. Let's keep rolling through the game. I gotta say, I think Sabrina is way easier in this game compared to Yellow. There's a huge discrepancy between having to fight a level 43 Alakazam and a level 50 Alakazam. Earthquake was a heavy hitter for the entire battle, and Psychic was a simple one-shot on Venomoth. Alakazam didn't get one-shot by Earthquake, since it's not Stab, and that really didn't surprise me. And after using Recover, it still took another Earthquake before going down. But when it used Disable, it got Hydro Pump, so Earthquake was still able to knock it out. Now, because I had Sudowoodo instead of Lapras, I wasn't sure what I was going to do for Surf. But when I booted up the HM, it said Sudowoodo could learn it. It also said Farfetch should learn it. So, okay, look, Lapras is what this Pokemon was supposed to be, so this isn't like cheating or anything. I'm honestly just confused to this point, and I'm just not questioning it. I probably turned on some every Pokemon can learn an HM thing. I don't care. And just because I could, I taught Lugia Blizzard. I'm normally all in on Ice Beam and not risking the missed chance on Blizzard, but I rolled with it anyways. It didn't get used in Blaine's gym, obviously. I just needed to mention it since you pick it up in the Burnt Mansion. Blaine's battle was so easy. Earthquake took out Growlithe and Ponyta in just 1 hit, as expected. Rapidash survived 1, but Blaine's AI screwed him over by using Super Potion after the hit. So another Earthquake, and it was done. Arcanine is naturally bulkier, so it took a hit and used Bite. Earthquake took it down next turn, but I was slightly terrified that Bite was going to retain the Dark typing because of the ROM I'm using. It didn't, but still, this could have been hairy. I was pretty underleveled against Giovanni in the gym battle, honestly. Not a crazy amount, but a noticeable amount. But, I mean, Psychic and Blizzard. That's all it took to take down his entire team. Rhyhorn is, ironically, the only one that took more than 2 hits, but that's because I used Earthquake instead of just going for Blizzard. 90% is amazing, but it still scares me. But in Viridian Gym, it was perfect. And the underleveledness continued with the rival battle, and Thunderbolt still didn't take out Pidgeot in 1 hit, but he used Whirlwind. I don't know if my rival was just feeling a little nostalgic using this move, but it gave me a free hit. Rhyhorn was taken out by 1 Blizzard, and it landed first try. We are 3 for 3 on Blizzards, and Gyarados was nuked by a single Thunderbolt. And honestly, felt a little bad using Earthquake on the poor puppy Growlithe. A critical Earthquake on Alakazam took it down in just 1 hit, and then to top it all off, Venusaur actually survived Psychic. But it used Double Edge, barely damaging the high defense Lugia. Is it a little poetic that the only 2 Pokemon on his team to not go down in 1 hit were the 2 he started with in this fight way back at the beginning? I don't really know, I'm not that great with poetry. By the way, you see that reset counter in the corner? We haven't had to use that since The Brock battle? Have we really done that well? Well, Lorelei is here to ruin the day, and I will take full responsibility for this mistake. If I had taught Lugia Mimic, this would have all been easy. I could have grabbed a stat move, abused the badge boost glitch. Everything would have been so easy. And, I'm going to be honest, it was still pretty easy. Dugong and Cloyster were easily dispatched with Thunderbolt. Slowbro got lucky with me missing a Thunderbolt to the 1 in 256 glitch, but it just used Headbutt. Not much damage. A crit Thunderbolt also bailed me out next turn. Jinx is an issue though. It can use Ice Punch because Earthquake won't one-shot, but if it misses, we're good. Lapras is the real problem. It can take a Thunderbolt, and it will hit you with Blizzard for incredibly massive damage. On the second attempt, I realized that Dugong was only beatable with a critical hit. It can damage you pretty good with Aurora Beam, and later in this same battle, Jinx destroyed me with Ice Punch. After this battle, I just used a few rare candies. I wanted to be done with this run. I got a critical Earthquake on Jinx, and Lapras didn't get a critical Blizzard. But it didn't need a critical with the amount of health I had left over. So, more rare candies up to level 50. Dugong landed an Aurora Beam, but it went down to 2 Thunderbolts. And against Cloyster and Slowbro, Thunderbolt kept doing the job. Another critical Earthquake on Jinx was awesome. And then Lapras landed a Blizzard. That left me with 28 health. But that was all I needed to have left so that I could shock it. Bruno was just as easy as you might have expected him to be. Blizzard hit on Onyx, 4 for an easy one-shot. Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee were obliterated by Psychic. Not even a chance they survived this. But the second Onyx avoided Blizzard. We landed 4 in a row. But it hit the next turn and it quickly died. And Machamp, as muscular as it is, had its brain melted by Psychic. And Psychic just kept melting brains. With all of Agatha's team being part poison, it was the obvious choice to use. The only one that could actually do anything was the final Gengar. It survived with a sliver of health. But Agatha used a super potion, so one more Psychic knocked out that little bit of health it had left over. Lance's Gyarados was nuked by Thunderbolt. 6 level disadvantage, not a stab move, but 4 times weakness. It had no chance. And Lugia made up for its missed Blizzard by landing 2 in a row on the Dragonair. No chance for them to survive. Aerodactyl was a little troubling. One Thunderbolt didn't quite take it down, and Lance actually has Hyper Potions because he's a competent Elite Four member. And another Thunderbolt didn't take it out either. But he used Supersonic. Not an actual good move. Even though it confused me, Lugia took it down. And Lugia started to get a little annoying. It hit itself in confusion and missed Blizzard twice. I wasn't really worried about Dragonite taking me down, but Blizzard was going to be the way for me to take it out the fastest. It did land on the final Blizzard, and Lance was defeated. And now, for the final rival battle. Thunderbolt finally took out Pidgeot in just one move, and one critical Earthquake got Alakazam. And then, you know what? Throwing a critical Blizzard on Rhydon. This is going way too well. So well, that I accidentally used Blizzard on Gyarados. It landed, for what it's worth, but Blizzard did only take away less than half of its health, and it hit me with a Hydro Pump. The Hydro Pump only did 60 HP too, so Thunderbolt quickly took it down. And Earthquake was not enough to beat Arcanine in one shot. In fact, only doing a little more than half health. But I survived to the next turn, took it out, and just had Venusaur to deal with. And one single Psychic took out Venusaur. No crits needed. 3 hours, 4 minutes, 55 seconds. Only 5 resets at level 55. This should be the best of the birds. If you go by just time spent in game, oh, you'd think this bird was miserable. But we all know, unless you skipped the beginning of the video for some reason, we spent an hour and a half before Brock. Take an hour and a half off, and you get a time of 1 hour and 34 minutes. That's a 20-minute advantage over Zapdos, the fastest of the bird trio. Both in speed stat and completion time. If you look at the number of resets, it's a lot more telling of the rankings. Only 5 for Lugia. Technically 6 if you count the very first rival battle, but even then, that battle, and the optional rival battle, and Brock battles were only really resets because of the available moveset at the time. Lorelei was the only one that had a legitimate answer for Lugia. I honestly can't say that about any of the other birds. Now that the Kanto bird trilogy is finally over with a 4th video, let me know what Pokemon you want to see next. Literally just any in general. Like I said earlier, the obvious one is Ho-Oh, but it ain't happening. I certainly wouldn't have fun with it, and I don't think it would be entertaining for y'all watching my videos. Speaking of y'all, thank you so much for watching these. Leave a comment, like, sub, all that business so you can help out the channel. Have a great day, make good choices, and until next time, see you later!